Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I'm back again with another video. I made my first video of the year, a sit down video, and I did mention in that video if you guys actually enjoyed the sit down videos and stuff like that, and a lot of you guys were like, keep them coming, okay, keep them coming. So I decided, you know what, let me take you guys seriously. Can sell pants and be clean, okay? Let me give you guys the respect that you deserve. So we're going to be doing a lot more sit down videos because I feel like there's a lot going on in my head. There's a lot that I'm coming across on social media, and I feel like there are a lot of conversations that we need to have that we're not having. So this is the platform for us to have these conversations, okay? Please, before we get into this video, if you have not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button, and of course like the video before we even get into anything. Let's not waste any time and let's get right into this video. We're going to be talking about unlearning hyper independence and stepping into your feminine energy for relationships. I know what you guys are thinking. You're like, we're tired of this conversation. We've been talking about this for the whole of 2022. We are exhausted. Trust me, I understand, okay? But I made a post on my TikTok this one day talking about like a similar conversation, and the engagement there was actually surprising because it felt like a lot of people weren't really aware of what is required of them to become more feminine or to unlearn hyper independence and such things. So I felt like, why not open this platform and let's talk about this, you guys. Believe it or not, unlearning your hyper independence, especially as a woman, might be the breakthrough that you need to let everything else fall into place. So for those who may not really be sure about it, hyper independence is exactly like independence. However, hyper independence has a tendency of not feeling like you need anyone or having a fear of needing people because maybe you're afraid of rejection, or you just haven't really adopted a culture where people are there for you, they show up for you, they support you, and all of that stuff. So you sort of like break into that, you become an overachiever, you're overcompensating, you're doing all of these grand things which come from a good place most of the time but are actually draining and destructive for you. So this is why we're having a conversation of having to unlearn that, because once you unlearn the hyper independence, then you can step into your feminine energy. As much as you want to be a boss babe, figuring things out on your own, not really feeling like you're desperate, as grand as that sounds, it can actually have an adverse reaction to the rest of your life, especially for someone who wants to be in a healthy, stable relationship where the energy is reciprocated, where, you know, it's just like a peaceful flow of what you want, what I want, I give to you, you give to me. That's sort of, if you're someone who wants that type of, you know, system in your relationship, then there are some things you might need to tweak, especially if you are someone who's had a long journey of being hyper independent. So I'm going to speak about a few things that I have sort of like learned along the way, things that I'm also implementing in my own life that help me navigate relationships. That way I don't feel the need to be hyper independent. I don't feel the need to be masculine. I don't feel the need to prove myself and do all of the stuff. It's not really about you having to change too much of yourself. It's about removing the wall, letting your guard down, you guys. There's a lot of emphasis in being vulnerable, and sometimes you would think we're being vulnerable in our relationships, but we actually aren't. There's still a very strong, long wall built up, and you might need to break that girly down a little bit, okay? So let's talk about stepping into your feminine energy and unlearning hyper independence for healthy relationships. So I'm going to be speaking from a heterosexual perspective and from a romantic perspective. We're going to be talking about relationships, and not so much platonic relationships, even though I think some of these tips can sort of like help you navigate platonic relationships. It's really up to what you choose to, you know, adopt from this video. So the first step I'm going to be talking about, this tends to be the first, I don't want to say red flag, but sign of you being hyper independent or being masculine, okay? And this is what you might need to let go of. Do not try to prove yourself. This is the first wrong move that a lot of us tend to make because we're used to being hyper independent. And I'm speaking to women. I'm speaking to women. The simplest way to understand this, right? Boy meets girl. So if a guy is in your DMs and they're the one pursuing you, they're the ones coming to you for whatever reason it may be lustful reasons, it may be superficial reasons, they might want to conquer you, it might be sexual, it might be pure and genuine, whatever the case may be, this person is coming to you. They're hitting you up, okay? So you don't need to go out of your way to say, hey, you're in my DMs? Well, actually, I can also cook and I'm also working hard. I earn 6 figures and I do this and I can carry this and I can blah, blah, blah. You don't need to do all of that. So if someone is approaching you, that already tells you that there's something they find attractive about you, they find interesting about you, something that is worth pursuing. So you don't have to be the one to validate that. You don't have to be the one to say, yes, you made the right decision to come into my DMs because I'm actually a good woman. I can cook, I can do this and do that. You don't need to do that. You don't have to be a good girl to someone who's approaching you. Why? Because they're the ones approaching you. They're the ones they're supposed to make you believe that they're worth giving a chance to. It's as simple as that. Did you guys see that Lori Harvey said the other day that you are the prize? Whenever someone comes into your DMs, whenever someone approaches you, understand that you are the prize. They saw you, that's why they're here. Whether it's for superficial reasons, whether it's not genuine, whether it's a hit and run, whatever the case may be, you're the prize. In this instant, you're the prize. So you can't be the prize and have to prove this person and convince this person that, yeah, I'm worth it. The reason why people run races and work so hard to accomplish a goal or to become athletes and stuff like that is because there's a prize to win. Imagine if a gold cup or a medal stood there and said, guys, I'm so worth it. You guys have to come because I'm actually worth this amount of money and I can do this and I can do that. No, everyone who runs a race already knows that that thing that I'm chasing is worth it. My next step is stop taking the lead. This one is also very crucial because I know my hyper independent girlies like to take the lead. And I'm not gonna lie, most of it is probably coming from a good place. If a guy comes to you and they're like, babe, I was thinking we'd do something, you're already talking about like, okay, cool, I can pick the place and then I can do this and then I'll buy the wine and then you can do this. And I know you're probably thinking to yourself that, okay, this guy's gonna think that I'm, I have initiative. I want to be a part of the organization aspect. I want, that's what you're thinking in your head. But you guys, men are not very good at reading between the lines. Let's start there. For a lot of men, that translates as I am a control freak. For some men, that can seem like, okay, well, she can do everything, let me just not do it. That the man will stop taking any initiative. The man will literally leave it up to you because you're setting the tone. You're setting the tone that, okay, I'm someone who can do this, I can do that by myself. Don't worry, I'm gonna pay this. Don't worry, I'll organize this. We can just go there. And then you find that a few months or weeks down the line, you're complaining that this guy doesn't make the plans. He isn't the one who makes the first move. Hello? You never set the tone. This type of conversation tends to be frustrating because it seems like it's always the woman's responsibility to create a space for men to play their role. But like I said, men are not sometimes good at understanding the little things or reading in between the lines. And it's not that they're not smart, but they're lazy. And the one thing you don't want to do is give a lazy guy a free pass. So you need to set the tone. If someone is coming into your life, let them choose the restaurant. Let them buy the dinner or the games or the snacks. Let them pay the bill. Let them pay the bill. I always say to like my girlfriends or anyone who's had this conversation with me that your independence or your hyper independence or your accolades, your money, your accomplishments are for you. You need to use that to protect yourself. So in an instant where you go on a date with the guy, you have to go there with the expectation that he's going to pay. Unless now the conversation becomes him thinking you can't pay or him trying to degrade you, then you insert the card of, hey, I don't need to be in this. I can go. I can pay my own bill. I'll get a takeaway and I can. request my own Uber and go. So your independence and your money and all of that stuff is for you. It's for your protection, but you can't lead with that in a relationship. You need to sit back, let the guy take control, and you remain in your feminine energy. Do not compete. I know, guys, that as young, beautiful women who are accomplishing things, who are thriving in their industries, we tend to have this sense of making it clear or making it known that, hey, I'm a businesswoman, I can do this and I can do that and I can da-da-da-da. Trust me, that much, all of that stuff is valid and all of that stuff is worthy. All of that stuff is necessary. If you are a go-getter, if you are someone who's accomplished, never downplay that. Don't ever downplay any of your accomplishments and your accolades and what you've done and what you can do. Never downplay that, but do not feel the pressure to compete. I tend to see that a lot of successful women, a lot of women who have money, tend to resent guys with money because they feel like, oh, he thinks he can push me around. Or they follow under this narrative that rich men or accomplished men are abusive, or they treat you in a certain way. Let me tell you one thing. You need to, let's be honest, all men can be villains. Rich, unaccomplished, unemployed, employed, all men, all of them, okay, can be villains. When a guy says, oh, I've traveled and gone to this place and that place, you're already on some, I used to go to this place and stuff like that. When a guy says, when a guy has like a political stance on something, you're coming with your own. You're like, well, actually, I heard that the minister of what. I'm not saying act stupid or act dumb or act unknowledgeable, but there's no need for you to compete. And believe it or not, a lot of men find validation in being needed. So once you start competing with him, if he says, I can do this, you're saying, I can do that. If he says, I can buy this car, you're talking about buying that car. If he's talking about whatever business venture he wants to get into, you feel the need to express your own business ventures. And this one, I'm not talking about someone you're in a relationship with, guys, where you're in love with this person and you're obviously free to express yourself and what you've done and what you've accomplished. Absolutely not. I'm talking about the dating stage where the guy talks about their own accomplishments. And in as much as you are very much okay to share your own, but don't let it come from a place of competition where you're like, I need to one up this guy because I don't want him to think that he's better than me because he's rich and he's accomplished. I feel like I don't want him to think that I'm a loser or I'm a bum, I'm just a pretty face. Don't do that. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, guys. A lot of the guys that take advantage of women or give them the bare minimum are men who actually seek out women who are independent. They purposely prey on women who are like, I can handle the bills, I can pay the date. They'll literally just show up. You will never see him paying another date. My next point is actually step into your receiving mentality. The problem with hyper independence is that it neglects the necessity of reciprocity. That's a lot of English. But what I'm saying is that when you're hyper independent, you start forgetting that you need to be receiving the same energy. If you're someone who's been hyper independent like myself, guys, you will sit back one day and you will notice the many efforts that you have given for people who've not given the same. Think about the times where you've bought gifts for friends and they've never given you a gift. Think about the times where you've paid for trips and stuff like that and you've never received that. Think about the times where you are telling your partner, no, I'll Uber myself, I'll do this and I'll do that, and they've never offered to give you a lift or to pay for the ride or to do this and that. Think about those times. The thing that you need to stop doing is neglecting the fact that it's a give and take. You need to be receiving. I'm sorry to say this, but you're not going to get brownie points for doing everything, for being everything for everyone, for accomplishing everything for everyone, for being generous and providing for everyone. You're not going to get brownie points. As a woman, you need to step into your receiving mentality. You need to understand, once again, you're the prize. This guy is here for you. He came into your DMs. He found you attractive. So sit back, receive the flowers. Let him pay for the dates. Let him plan the dates. Don't chase. You are the receiver. And this is not to say be selfish or be lazy. You do nothing in the relationship. You don't help the guy, even if he's in dire need. You're just someone who's selfish and you just want to be on the receiving end constantly. No. Context is important, guys, because this context is for people who've learned years and years and have adopted a culture of hyper independence, and they sit back and they're like, no one did the same for me. Where was anyone for me? You have not created a space to receive. You have not created a space to get the same energy that you're giving out. Leave the whole thing of thinking that the more I do, the more they'll understand. If I do this first, it will translate to them that this is what I like, this is what I need. I've heard a couple of times that people are saying, if you want something, you need to be the one to do it yourself. No, my baby. You buying your own flowers does not tell the guy that he needs to start buying you flowers. For a lot of women, it doesn't work like that. You need to express it, or you need to let go that it's not going to happen for you. If you can't tell the guy, listen, I like flowers, you're going to have to buy me flowers from time to time. And if this guy says no to buying you flowers, you're going to have an honest conversation with yourself. Okay, am I willing to date this person? Like, how important are flowers to me? Or it doesn't matter. Or it's a dead end, like it's a deal breaker, I'm not going to settle for something like this. That's the only honest conversation that you need to have with yourself. Don't think that you're buying your flowers every day. When you're buying flowers, do it for you. If you're someone who enjoys buying yourself flowers and you enjoy having flowers, do it for you. But don't think that it's going to translate to the guy that, oh, she likes buying flowers, let me buy flowers for her. A lot of men don't operate like that. A lot of men cannot read between the lines, like I said before. It's either you're upfront with what you want, or you consider it a deal breaker and you move on. Okay, so you need to step into this receiving mentality. Don't negotiate that. Don't overcompensate. There's no need for you to do that. My last and probably most important point, balance your energies. Okay, and as much as we're putting so much emphasis in women becoming more feminine, there's absolutely nothing wrong with you being masculine. I'm a woman who's maybe, let me say 70% of the time I am masculine. I am a mother. I've got responsibilities. I'm trying to figure out my life. I'm trying to make money. I'm trying to accomplish things. I'm trying to be a better woman. So most of the time, I need to get things done. Yes, I cry and I'm emotional and I'm sensitive, but most of the time I need to step out of that and at least do something. So I'm someone who's typically like that. I have a history, guys, years and years of being masculine. I remember where I was in a relationship where I was paying all the dates. I was in a relationship where whenever I was going to go see this guy, I was the one paying the Ubers. I was the one always taking myself to and from their place. I've been there before. This is why for a lot of women, especially the successful, accomplished women, a few months down the line, you're resenting this guy. You are having a meltdown talking about how this guy is not buying you flowers. He's not reciprocating the same energy. He's not doing all the things that you like to do. Even the small things. Once you start accepting the bare minimum, you'll get even less. The girl who asks for half doesn't even get a slice, okay? So you need to not do that, especially for women who are accomplished. I cannot express this enough. The girls that are winning in life like to feel like, let me prove this, let me do too much, let me do all of that. You don't need to do that. And let's unlearn this whole thing of thinking that the girls who are being spoiled, the girls who are being taken on trips, the girls who are given princess treatment are selfish people who don't give back, who are just airheads, who are unaccomplished, who are lazy. Let's stop that. And a lot of successful independent women tend to think that the girls who are getting princess treatment are girls who are submissive and are either pushed around and abused, or they don't have voices in their relationships, or they're unaccomplished and they need this money and they need da. Stop that. The women who think like that are women who are not receiving this princess treatment. So you sort of like console yourself by making it seem like, oh, all the girls who are being treated like princesses or queens are probably in some kind of damage in some kind of way. But you're also in a relationship where you're paying all the bills and you are dying inside. So balance your energies. Know when you need to be feminine. And half of the time, if you want a stable relationship, men like to feel like they are needed. Believe it or not. That is the guy with impure intentions, but a lot of guys who are accomplished, who are smart, who are talented, who are everything that you might want for yourself, want to feel like they're needed. Try to be the woman who's gonna say, hey babe, what do you have in mind? Or let him text you first, let him call you first, let him initiate the dates. Ask him, what do you have in mind, babe? What is your plan? Let him take the lead, let him take the role. For the most part, if someone approaches me, I want them to prove themselves to me. I want them to show me that, okay, they're worth my time, they're worth me letting them in. But hey, there's no more space, guys, now for negotiating your worth. If you don't want to pay the dates, own it. I don't want to pay for dates. If you don't want to be a certain way with in a relationship, don't do it. Don't negotiate that. In as much as like the hyper independence tells you that, okay, you don't mind doing this is in your nature, but why then do you sit back and you're frustrated and you resent this person who never gave you anything that you deserve? So I hope these tips really helped a lot of women who have had a history of hyper independence. This is all for your benefit. It's not about you becoming, a brat or someone who's mean and cold and, gold digger or whatever the case may be. And as much as we want to demonize gold digging and make them seem like they're bad people, then I'm not saying be a gold digger, guys, don't get me wrong, but like gold diggers actually do attract the men who accommodate them. They actually do attract men who do everything that they want. Gold diggers actually do get the lifestyle that they need. So you dumbing down and you trying to be like, okay, let me not ask for too much, or let me not expect too much, or let me just do things all by my own. Let me just let me make my own self happy so that maybe this will prove to him that I'm worth of all these things. It doesn't work like that. You need to be direct. You need to be upfront, set the tone that I'm here to receive. I'm here to give where I'm receiving. I'm here to get good vibes so that I can give back good vibes. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to comment, like this video, and of course do subscribe. I will see you guys next time. Bye. Something I can't feel, I just wanna